right, it says we're on. Here's my disclaimer. I am not a doctor. I am not giving you medical advice. These are my thoughts and experiences. Consult your doctor before even contemplating anything that I do, because I'm batshit stupid. So, like, for real. Don't listen to me. I'm not giving you advice, and I don't know anything. That being said, good morning. I am very much not with the program. It's 10:45 here. I'm usually up between 6 and 7 in the morning, and this morning I slept in. It was like 9 o'clock, and I was like, oh, must get life in order. So I'm here. Luckily, I was planning on doing this yesterday, but Marty Leeds ran his mouth so long, I wasn't even going to try to compete with that, because I know half of my peeps were over there, and, well, if you can catch him live, you should. So, here we are this morning. This will be my last hangout on this channel. Should be. Having to do with biblical things, so if you're getting ready to dump me because I won't shut up about the Bible, hang in there and just skip this video because it's moving. Once you enable your live streaming abilities, they make you wait 24 hours before they let you actually live stream. I didn't realize that. I don't remember that being a feature. So yesterday when I was planning on doing this hangout, I went over there, enabled live stream, and they're like, okay, and then they show you a fancy picture of a satellite, and they're like, in 24 hours you can go live. And I'm like, wow, that really helps me right now. So let's pop over and say hi to all my super awesome peeps in the chat. How is it going? Stacy's here and Chris is here. Whoops. And my mouse is taking over the desktop. Sandra's here. Hey, maybe it'll just be the 5 of us. That's okay. They'll catch up, right? This was going to be a quick update on the fast I just had. As soon as I find my notes. Here they are. Okay. Let me see. What the hell am I doing here? What is the meaning of life? Okay, here I am. Okay. I ended up not fasting, dry fasting for the whole time. I totally crapped out. And I'll tell you what. They say that 1 day a dry fast is the equivalent to 3 days of a water fast. And I don't know how that can necessarily be measured in the body. Like, if you can actually measure cell changes. I mean, supposedly there have been studies done. I should really look them up. You can tell anybody, oh, well, they did studies on this and that, and they're like, oh, did they? And then they take that information and go on with it and never actually verify the studies and look at them or whatever. So, yeah, mental note. I want to know what the actual studies were. But they say that 1 day dry fast is basically the equivalent of a 3-day water fast. And I'm wondering if that opinion, we're going to go with it's an opinion for now, is based on the fact that it is at least 3 times as hard to go a full day without eating or drinking anything. It's at least 3 times as hard. That was, oh my God, and it is so largely psychological. The whole first day, all of Friday, all I could do was sit. Like, I was like, I knew it was coming. I was prepared for it. I knew for a month. I was thinking about it, looking forward to it, and the whole first day, all I could do was just, like, sit in stunned, shocked silence. I couldn't even, like, watch stupid mindless shit because I couldn't focus. I couldn't think. I just, like, All I could think was that I wanted a drink of water more than anything else in the whole freaking world. But I powered through. I noticed things becoming more conscious of yourself and your place in the cosmos, I guess. I don't know. It gave me this, one of the first things that I noticed was that it gave me this ability to step outside of myself and observe myself. Observe what is happening, what I'm thinking, how I'm feeling. And I've also come to think of those nagging, nasty thoughts as actual entities. Like, I feel like they're actual demons. Like, shit that talks to you. Like, they show you the little devil on this shoulder and the little angel on this shoulder. Actually, I suppose it's backwards. The angel would be on the right and the devil would be on the left. But there was like no part of my being. I was looking forward to a dry fast. I was looking forward to it. I was excited about doing it. And as soon as it was happening, every cell of my body wanted me to freaking bail. Bail and drink. At least you're drinking water. You know, still don't eat, but you drink something. And it was so hard to be like, no. And I kept picturing Jesus on the top of the mountain with the freaking devil going, but I'll give you all of this. Just let this go. You don't need to do this. This isn't important. I'll give you everything. I'll give you sausage, gravy, and biscuits, which coincidentally was what first dinner last night. You can just have water. It'll be okay. Look at everything you could have if you'll just let this go. This is stupid. Why are you doing this? And that's just what kept going through my mind. So I stayed strong. I was dry. Aries, the moon went into Aries at 9:30 in the morning on Friday morning. And that was when I went completely dry, which it was like a little cheat that wasn't necessarily cheating because I'm up so early in the morning. I actually got to have my coffee Friday morning, which made the rest of the day so much more tolerable. And I figured, what's the harm? I haven't drank all night. I'll get up in the morning, drink your coffee. Coffee's a diuretic, so if anything, it's going to help me flush out more water. So I had a cup of coffee, went dry at 9 a.m., and I ended up breaking my dry at 9 a.m. Sunday. So I made it 48 hours. But 9 a.m. Sunday, I felt like shit. I just, oh my God, it's so much more intense. And I didn't break my fast. I just started drinking very small amounts of water. Just taking enough in my mouth to wet my mouth because it was freaking intense. But I started thinking about how it's a process. It's something that I noticed the other day, right before my fast, that kind of popped into my head, and I was kind of tossing it around and contemplating it a little bit. And I've been trying to get my cues from nature. Really look at nature. Look at what nature does. Nature's the only thing they can't screw with. You know, you don't worship nature, but look at it. You want to know a creator, look at what it creates. You want to know me? Talk to my kids. For 5 minutes, Stacy found Kevin's old YouTube channel when he was first talking Flat Earth. She was like, oh my God. I'm like, I know. He opens his mouth and I fall out. And she's like, it's so very, you know, because you want to get to know me, know my children. They'll tell you, without even talking about me, they'll tell you so much about me. So nature, it's hard for them to screw with nature. Nature's pure. It's incorruptible to a certain extent, which makes me wonder if that's why they're trying so hard to destroy nature. So we miss it all. But I was thinking, you know, we had this week of freezing cold. It was like 2 degrees and less. I think it went down to like -10. The whole half of the country had this massive cold snap, and everybody was talking about global warming and crap. I remember this happening all the way back when I was a kid. I remember times when it was so cold, Grandma was like, no, you can't go outside to play. And then other times when the snow was up to my ass. And other times when, you know, there was days in the winter when you could see the grass. Like, this is normal, especially living next to a large body of water like I do. So we went through this cold snap, and then all of a sudden it got warm. And the other day it was 50 degrees. And people are like, how about this weather we're having? And I'm like, it's pretty much the middle of February. Like, I don't get it. But if you watch nature, if you watch the seasons change, it's a very gradual thing. You don't go to bed one night and it's 80 degrees and wake up the next morning and it's 50 degrees and it sustains that and all the leaves change and they start to fall, and then you go to bed one night and it's 50 degrees and you wake up and it's 25 and there's a foot of snow, and then that's there for a while. You know, change doesn't happen like this. Change happens slowly. And that's another part of our society that is set up to make us fail, because this is such an instant gratification society. And I remember wanting to do certain things and change certain things about myself years ago, like when I was maybe 20 years old, and thinking, gosh, that would take forever to do this little thing and then that little thing, and, you know, well, do this for a week until you form a habit and blah, blah, blah. And someone said to me, that time is going to pass anyway. What if you just do that thing? And it was like, well, that's true. So I started, you know, really trying to not be a better person, just be more who I wanted to be. What kind of person do I want to be? You know, who am I? And do I like who I am? What do I want to change? What about me would I not want to be around if that person was around me? You know, would I want to be friends with me? So I'm observing nature and the slow change of the season, and how, you know, sometimes it takes a step back. Sometimes we set our goals and we're moving forward, we're doing good, and then we take 2 steps back and we have a crappy week and we blow it all to hell, and we live from our lowest base animal instinct, and we eat everything in sight, and we do drugs that we shouldn't, or we drink, or, you know, whatever, and we feel like shit, and you get over that. And the important thing is that you start moving forward again, because you're always changing, you're always moving forward. The seasons don't get stuck. It doesn't just stay perpetually winter. You have to change into spring, but it's okay to have a freeze over sometimes, you know? So it's really got me thinking in those directions. It's also got me thinking, just because it was so hard to dry fast, and because seasons seem to be bombarding me, it got me wondering if hard, dry, 3-day fasts are more, gosh, I don't know what word I'm looking for, would be better on like the cardinal points of the seasons, because that's what the sun does, is it does 3-day things in those areas. And if we're observing nature and trying to find the rhythm of nature, that makes sense. And I did look through the Bible and look through seasons and see just how often seasons is mentioned, and I'll get there. Because another thing that I was thinking is, I've lost so much weight in like the last year that it would be hard for me to do a hard dry fast for 3 days every single month, because I lost 7 pounds in 2 days of dry fast. I didn't even count Sunday, because the moon came out of Aries in the evening on Sunday, and I ate. So I weighed myself Sunday morning, stayed water fasted for most of that day, and then broke my fast at night, so my Monday morning wouldn't be an accurate representation of a 3-day fast. So it wasn't quite 3 days. It wasn't all dry. So from Friday morning until Sunday morning, 48 hours of a dry, hard fast, I lost 7 pounds. And I could see the difference in my face. I'm a little puffier today because I had like I said, sausage gravy and biscuits for dinner last night. So I'm kind of puffy because that's a very salty meal. But you definitely lose weight. And I've lost enough weight. I don't really want to lose anymore. I mean, most people's weight fluctuates within about 5 pounds, and I'm okay with that. So I don't want to get 10 pounds thinner this time next month. And I don't want to have to focus on overeating to gain weight. Because that's weird. So that can't be right, because that's not normal. That's not a rhythm that feels natural. So I'm thinking water fast and dry fast on the cardinal points. And not just the cardinal points like the solstice, because what I'm learning is that it's you that's important. You're the child of God. It's you. You're the center of the universe. You are the center of your universe. So your universe literally revolves around you. It's you. It's your rhythm. Yours isn't like mine. Your moon isn't the same as mine. It doesn't affect you the same. So, I'm not looking for, I'm not looking for an equinox. I'm looking for my equinox. I'm looking for the moon in my sun sign at that cardinal month of the zodiac. Everything in its season. To everything turn. We all know it, right? So that's where I am. And the reason that I was thinking about the seasons and how everything changes slowly is because I thought, I've never done a hard dry fast. I've never done a soft dry fast. I've never dry fasted. The worst I've ever done is gone like 12 hours without drinking anything and thought, man, I'm really thirsty. Oh man, I haven't drank anything today. Because they push on you that it's so important to be hydrated. Drink lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of water. Turns out, people that drink the most water are actually the most dehydrated. I've been learning some really interesting things about hydration, cell hydration, and it having more to do with the fat that you take in than the water. They tell you, drink lots of water to flush out toxins. Do you know where your toxins live? In your fat cells. When's the last time you were able to break down fat using water? Take a chunk of coconut oil, put it in a cup, fill it with water, put a lid on it, and shake it until the coconut oil dissolves. I'll wait. You're not flushing out jack shit with water. Your fat, it's the autophagy that happens that breaks down the cell, that opens the fat cell and releases the toxins. It's not eating and not drinking that actually flushes toxins, not eating all the time and staying constantly hydrated. They're making rules about how to live your best, most healthy life that make you as fat and heavily toxin laden as possible. It's blowing my mind. It really is. And I thought it was funny, if I was supposed to be doing dry fasts all this time, I've gotten so much out of just the water fast. And that got me thinking about the seasons, how, I was still moving toward summer. I just wasn't having an 80-degree day in the middle of March. I wasn't quite there yet. It was still in the 50s. And now I'm hitting 80-degree days because I'm really changing what's in my body. And you can see what comes out of you. And I'm a pretty toxin-free person. I've been really practicing getting all the toxins out of life as much as humanly possible. I'm so sensitive to stuff now because I'm not desensitized to it anymore. Just standing next to somebody wearing a lot of perfume will give me a headache. It can even make my skin break out. Like, I'm like, ooh, get away from me. And that hard dry fast was intense. And you keep peeing. You don't pee, you know, every hour or so like you normally would if you're constantly drinking a beverage, but you still continue to urinate, and you can actually see stuff in it, like floaties and like dust that settles in the bottom, yeast. I don't even eat sugar, and there was yeast in my urine. Like, it's kind of intense. It really does flush stuff out of you that you don't even realize is there. So it was intense. And I thought, well, it's really actually perfect timing. It's almost like I've been following a path, and I've been following it right along like I should have all like if I was going to teach a course, I would teach it that this is how you should do that. This is how you should learn to do this. Get fat adapted, get the sugar out of your diet, you know, and get in ketosis so your body is functioning properly and burning properly. Then go most of your day without eating and start eating just like in a 6-hour window. That's intermittent fasting. And you get used to that. And then you find you're not even hungry, and you'll push your window back because you were supposed to eat at 1 and you forgot to eat because you were busy and you weren't even hungry. And so you don't eat until 4. And the next thing you know, you're eating in like a 2 to 3 hour window every day. And then it's really easy to go, okay, I'm going to fast today, and just skip, because you're skipping what is essentially like 1 meal, and it's not that big of a deal. There was a time where I was like obsessive about food, and just getting rid of the sugar has helped me disassociate from that to such an extent that I'm so much happier. But it's not that hard for me to be like, gosh, I didn't even eat and it's already 9 o'clock. I don't want to eat a bunch and go to bed, so I'm just not going to eat today. Most people are like, oh, but I'm starving, and then they talk themselves into it and go eat a bunch of food and then don't sleep well because their belly's all gurgly and digesting. And, you know, we kind of, our food is made to be addictive, so we are constantly seeking that scratch. Always scratching that itch. We're crack whores for bread and pasta and sugar. I mean, we really are. So, yeah, I feel like this path that I've been on, just kind of going with the flow, where the spirit moves you, you know, row, row, row your boat. And I've come to this place where I just did my first 48-hour dry fast, and it's next month that would be on the cardinal point for me. So it's almost like I was practicing, like it was a dry run. That's good. So I don't know. I always end up where I am and then look back at how I got there and go, oh, that's why I did that. Oh, that's why that kept popping up for me. That's why I was pushed in that direction. That's why that synchronicity happened. Just because you look back and it's like, okay, because it makes sense that I need to be here and this is where I was headed. Okay, I will pop in and say hello and see if anybody even gives a crap. Hey Marty, probably already gone. I see red here, but at work and listening later. And Teresa, how's it going, girl? Give me 1 second here. Collecting the thoughts. Something else that occurred to me during the dry fast time, because I kept thinking, and you know, anybody that listens to this at any point, don't jump down my throat with the what about these folks and what about those folks and, you know, what kind of God and blah, 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 because I mean, email me, okay? I'm happy to talk about it, because maybe it's a discussion we could have later. But this is like genuinely how I'm coming to think about this. I'm laying across my bed, miserable as I can be, talking myself out of not drinking anything. I didn't even leave my bedroom for 2 days. I have a bathroom in here. I wasn't showering, and I wasn't getting anything to drink. There was no reason for me to go out of my bedroom, which was really weird. It was like being in a tomb. And that struck me too. It was like being entombed for 2 days because there was no reason for me to go anywhere or do anything. And I thought, what do you do? When do you reach the point when you can't stand it anymore? Where is that point? How far can you push? How far should you push? I mean, I would get dizzy if I stood up too fast, but if I sat up and sat there for a minute and then stood up, I was okay. But walking around the room, it was very quickly, I was like, like just spiraling down, and would sit back down. And I thought, does God forgive you if you can't do it? Are you forgiven? And then I thought, how do you know that you're forgiven? We're told that all we have to do is ask God for forgiveness. We are forgiven by the blood of Jesus Christ. How do you know you're forgiven? When you commit a transgression that makes you feel guilty, that makes you feel anything, because we feel everything in our bodies. When you do something or say something or whatever that makes you feel that, and you feel the need to ask for forgiveness, please forgive me. How do you know that you're forgiven? Because in this Christian cult, as Marty puts it, you have to basically wait until you die to find out if you felt bad enough about what you did that your loving Creator will allow you to go on to glory instead of burning to death for eternity in a pit of hellfire. What kind of sense does that even make? What? How do you know you're forgiven? And I thought, well, what would forgiveness look like? If my kid did something, broke an antique something that was my Gram's, that was like, oh my God, it was so important to me, and it shattered on the floor. This literally happened once. This used to be a bookend. Well, it's still a bookend. It's just one end now. It's ceramic, and it was my Grams, who was like my mother. She was the light of my life. She was the only person through my childhood who consistently loved me, and I credit her for as any of the connection to the God that I have. I do. And there was 2. And my sons were throwing a ball and being they were being jerks to each other, like throwing playful things, but and the fighting was making me mad, and they wouldn't stop, and something ended up ricocheting, and the other one went down the back of the entertainment center and shattered behind the TV. I was a volcano. I was so mad and so angry and so everything that you can think of, But I forgave them. It's just a thing. It's not like they knocked Graham behind the TV and broke her. I mean, It's just a thing. And I do still have another one, and I treasure this. I keep it in my bedroom up by my books, all my favorite books. My books are some of my most prized possessions. So, like, I have very few, I don't do knickknacks. I have very few things that I value, and they're all collected right in the corner of my room. How did they know that I forgave them? Because we reconnected. I didn't stay mad at them. I didn't continue punishing them. I didn't send them to their room and tell them, I'll be in to deal with you in a few minutes, and make them wait until they died to find out if I was going to forgive them for that or not, because they wouldn't have known. They wouldn't have known the way I freaking blew up and lost my shit. If they'd had to go to their room and wait for the next 3, 4, 5 days to find out if I forgave them for it or not, they would not have known, because I lost my shit. But they knew, because we reconnected. And things were normal again. And I wasn't short with them, or, you know, like I said, continuing to punish them or whatever. I made their dinner and asked them how their day was, and I was just their mom again. And we were just together again, you know? What would that look like with God? How do I know God forgives me? And I thought, so many people were thinking, you know, we pray for help, we pray for forgiveness. I would think that being forgiven, forgiving everything, would look like health. It would look like vitality. It would look like energy. It would look like motivation. It would look uplifting. It would look like the happy that everybody's seeking, that everybody wants, that seems ever so elusive, just out of reach. It seems like that's what forgiveness would look like to me, in my head. And I thought, you know, what about like the 7 deadly sins? It's like the worst things that you can do that are death. Do these things and God hates you forever, and it's death. It's things like pride and anger and sloth and gluttony. I mean, and what do these things do? They destroy your body. They destroy your temple. It tears down your temple. And if God lives in the temple and you tear down the temple, where in the hell is God supposed to live? And it just... And then I thought, you know what? So many people want a relationship with their Creator, and so many people want to be forgiven for these sins that they imagine that they commit every time they drop an F-bomb, which is kind of weird. But at the same time, I kind of get that, because every time I fuck this and fuck that, and that's the horrors. What that is, that's that lower base animal emotion which is associated with female. That's the horror of Babylon coming out of me, just spitting fire. When you tame that, when you get rid of that anger, when you get rid of sloth, laziness, apathy, you know, you don't care, or gluttony, where you just, all you're concerned with is the physical, constant physical gratification. You can't heal your body when you're constantly physically gratifying it, because you're gratifying the animal that lives in the lowest nature. This is the animal. It's the freaking meat suit. If you keep satisfying the animal, it just gets hungrier and hungrier and hungrier, and it can't heal. You can't heal its connection. You can't forgive its sins. You can't forgive the garbage that it ate and the bad thoughts that it had, the anger that it's carrying in its liver. You can't forgive that if you are constantly gratifying that animal. You have to kill the animal. And when you fast, oh my God, you kill the animal. Actually, the animal attacks you. You learn to tame the animal. And it's an internal process of, as far as I can tell, it's pretty much your creator, the creative energy that created your being, forgiving all your sins, all your disconnections, all your laziness, all your apathy, all your anger, all your pride, all your vanity that you rubbed on your face and poisoned yourself with. All of it. It forgives you. And that's why just fasting, water fasting, I was getting so much out of it. It was working through me because I was still being forgiven. I was being forgiven for still continuing to miss the point. Because if you have faith the size of a grain of mustard seed, you can move mountains. I was moving mountains. In myself, I was moving mountains. I was correcting an eating disorder. I was getting a grip on my thoughts. I was really being led by inspiration down a path that has been so amazing for me, so enlightening for me. I've been brought so much peace. I'm healing an ulcer, and I'm not making the ulcer worse because I'm letting go of so much stuff, because I'm not dwelling there anymore, because that's the animal. Don't feed the animal. You have to sacrifice the animal. You got to burn the sacrifice on the altar for your Father, for your Creator. You have to burn it. So those are my big fat thoughts on everything, I guess, for now. Let me pop over here and say hi. Stacy says she's stuck in the same routine, food and wine, blah, blah. I was too. I really was. And I was really depressed and really heavy. Like, spiritually and physically. And I feel so much better. I really, really do. I feel... That's why it really rocked me so much that the dry fast was so hard, because I really was looking forward to it. I really do look forward to my fasting time of the month. And it's like, I don't even have to think about food. I just drink lots of water and I spend time alone, and it's very peaceful for me. I've really come to enjoy it, where it used to be really hard for me to wrap my head around. I mean, back in 2017, I was only doing it one day a month. I could wrap my head around one day of not eating. And that's all I did. One day. Every month. I mean, if you have never fasted before and you sit down and decide, I'm not going to eat for 3 days. If you're used to eating 3 meals a day, you're probably going to fail. I mean, maybe you won't. But willpower, I have learned that willpower is something that we do not just have. You do not just have willpower. Unless you, and see, even that, it's not something that you just have. It's something that's ingrained in you. It's a force of will is something that is not valued in people anymore. It's slowly being taken out of us. They don't even allow kids to have will. You got 18 and 19-year-olds in high school raising their hand to ask to go pee. And then, like, a couple of months after that, they're supposed to know what they want to do for the rest of their life to build a career to go $100,000 in debt for. Like, our society makes zero sense, but we're not taught will. Will is something you build. It's like a muscle. Will is like a bicep, and every time you curl it, that muscle gets a little bit stronger. And you have to start small. But I was drinking anywhere from 1 glass of wine to a whole bottle of wine every night. Mostly 1 glass. Like, I would drink a glass of wine while I was making dinner and then maybe have a second glass after dinner. That was more along the lines of what I was doing. But there were definitely nights where a 3rd glass happened. And starting to fast, just having one specific time where I knew it was coming, and I didn't drink that night, and I didn't eat that night. And that was just the way it was. And you kind of get used to it. And I actually found that I ate less overall later, and I drank less overall later, and it just kind of, the will of it snowballed. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. I kept thinking of that too. It's like, no, I do believe that it is the will of God to some extent, because I feel bolstered by it. I feel pushed forward by it. All I had to do was take the first step, and it seems to be growing for me. It seems to be really pulling me, and only good things are happening. Only good things have happened for me and through me because of this. So I don't know, you can't wrap your head around the whole thing. You gotta be like the seasons, man. 1 degree or 2, 1 little change, 1 little day at a time. There's 360 degrees in the whole sky, and it takes time to get all the way around. You gotta start small and let it snowball. Let your will build. Let your resolve build. Do it. Fast for a day, and on like the 2nd or 3rd month, you'll notice the day that you're fasting, you're like, man, I feel so in tuned. You just feel, you don't feel heavy. Because you don't realize how much crap you're carrying around in your gut, and when you go a day without eating, you feel lighter. You feel lighter physically, and you notice that you start to feel lighter mentally, and I believe that it is because of the detox that's happening, and you gain mental clarity. It's really been a beautiful thing. Of course the earth is flat. Teresa wonders if some things can be forgiven and others can't. Like, what about a pedophile or a murderer? Being forgiven, hurting somebody and them forgiving you, like, okay, well, even that is a good example. I was molested as a child. My stepfather molested me, and I forgive him. It's not okay. I don't condone pedophilia. It's not like, well, it's okay that he did that to me. It's just that I've come to a place in my life where I can see how those were breadcrumbs that I decided to do something culinarily brilliant with, instead of, making burnt toast and scraping it in the trash. And that was something that I chose to do, and I forgave him personally. As far as his psychosis, I do believe that we can heal psychosis through fasting. I really do. And the main reason that I believe this is because I believe that eating disorders are psychosis, and I fully believe that I had an eating disorder. I obsessed about food all the time. I was always, if I was bored, I was eating. If I was sad, I was eating. You can look back through pictures and track how my marriage was going, because my weight would go up and down and up and down, and not just, oh, she's gained 15 pounds. I'm talking 60, 70, 80 pounds. Like, I've I'm 5'9.5", 5'10", and I have weighed 265 pounds. And I have weighed 150 pounds. And all of that has happened in the last 20 years. And the 260, no, I wasn't pregnant at the time. I never weighed that much during any of my pregnancies. Like, I have a major issue with food. And it's always been beyond my control. I could not control myself. It was compulsive. And I do believe that some pedophilia and some other mental psychosis, I mean OCD for one, but these are compulsions. And I do believe that there is something about the fasted states and what it does to you mentally. And of course, if you're a pedophile and all you want is to touch kids and you don't want to get better, see, and that's the thing. You have to want to change. You can't change if you don't want to change. You have to ask forgiveness to be forgiven. You have to sit and go, God, I'm a piece of shit and I don't want to be a piece of shit. How can I be better? How can I change my behavior? What can I do? Well, you can seek first the kingdom of God. And where is the kingdom? When they say, look here, look there, they're full of crap, because the kingdom's inside of you. The Bible tells you 3 days of this and 3 days of that and 7 days of unleavened bread. I mean, I'm pretty convinced that this is how it's supposed to be. I also think that that's why 10 is the number of completion. 10's the number of completion. If you do 7 days of unleavened bread, collect up that energy for 7 days, and then 3 days of fasting, whether water or dry, 7 plus 3 is 10. It's a completion. I don't remember if I've said that before or not, but that hit me a couple fasts ago, and I made a note about that. I was like, oh, because I was like, why would 10 be complete? I mean, if you asked Marty Leeds, he'd go, but it is funny that 10 is completion, and, well, 7 plus 3 equals 10. So if a pedophile is repentant and is like, what in the hell am I doing? I'm hurting children, and was led to do this, I do honestly believe that their actual psychosis could be taken from them, could be healed from them. Because, and I know it's really small potatoes by comparison, but I know I will never eat the same that I did before. I am a different person. I couldn't go back to that. I would know inside my very soul that I was committing basically a heinous sin against myself, against my own temple. And I want that peace that comes with the connection that I get with my Creator. And it's not about starving yourself. It's not about, oh, well, that's just from one eating disorder to another. She went from overeating to anorexia, because I love food. I eat a lot of food. I really enjoy cooking food. I enjoy the taste of food. But man, that 3 days when I know that I am just, I mean, so many things kind of make sense to me now, because when I say that, I want to say I'm very Jesus Take the Wheel. And I always thought that that was the dumbest song ever. And I have a picture of a semi-trailer with the wheel off and the whole trailer sideways, and it says, "Wrong wheel, Jesus." But that's kind of how it is, because it's like this 3 days is coming and I can just let it go. It's not my problem anymore. I don't have to do anything to worry about this. I have to take no thoughts from my life. All I have to do is show up and be there. And I do, and things happen. So, yeah, I really don't think that there is anybody that cannot be forgiven if they are seeking forgiveness and practicing this. I really feel like this God, I feel like I'm onto something. And I hate to say that because I hate to... My way is the way. I have discovered the way. Follow me and I will lead you. But next live stream, we are going through Corinthians, and I'll tell you what, that's kind of what I'm doing, and it's basically just leading by example, just, you know, doing it and seeing the changes and moving forward and prophesying. Just, this is my results, this is how it's turning out. Can you see it? Come along my way, because it's working. So Corinthians is going to be really awesome. I'm really excited about that. How long have I been babbling now? For a while. 50 minutes. Oh, good, the Holocaust. See, and you get wrapped up in politics, man. It disconnects you. You're paying attention to the puppet show. The puppet show isn't even real. You're watching a movie on TV and getting indignant over the characters treating each other like crap. Because it's probably not even real. It's probably not even happening. And it's there designed specifically to make you live in anger, gluttony, sloth, pride, vanity. You're so vain. Look what they did to us. You're so angry. How dare they do that to us? Like, they want you to live in these Whore of Babylon emotions that completely destroy your temple. They completely destroy your temple. The 7 deadly sins are deadly. They really are. They kill you. Okay. An interesting thought last night on food, incidentally. You know, they force a lot of commercial food preppers to wear gloves. I wonder if that's to get plastics into food secondhand. I think that's more to push the idea that you getting sick has more to do with what's touching your food than what's in your temple. That's one thing, that's one of the big things that I have noticed, is that I don't get sick. I couldn't catch a cold with a butterfly net. I mean, my husband can be sick as hell, sleeping next to me every night, coughing all over me. I do not get sick. I don't get anything. This past Thanksgiving, we went to see my family for Thanksgiving, and the day, I think it was either the next day or 2 days later, my brother, his wife, and their 4 kids were all stomach flued up. My grandmother was stomach flued up. My uncle was going, my stomach feels weird. Anybody else? I don't know where it went from there. And my mom was super secluded and stayed away from everybody. So, and no illness. I mean, nothing. And I was on the floor with them kids the whole time we were there. I love my nieces and nephews, and I sit on the floor and I wrestle with them and play with them, and they bring me their toys and show me their stuff. And, you know, I'm that aunt. I'm the fun aunt. I'm the aunt that's going to show them how to put a condom on a banana. And, you know, I'm that aunt. And nothing. I don't get sick. Ever. So, I mean, I don't know. But everybody's got a microwave. We're zapping the crap out of our food. And I apologize to any that are watching, but veganism is the devil as far as I'm concerned. All vegans just are malnutritioned, and animals feed on animals. It's what we do. I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's the diet of light. Well, good luck living off of light. Oh, but your light body. There's no proof of this. This is all like new agey mumbo jumbo that's completely unproven, and everybody that goes on an all plant-based diet gets sick. Whether it happens, for some people it happens in a month or two. For some people it takes a couple of years. I mean, and then the most striking thing is you get people that have been vegan for 10, 15 years that get so sick that they finally start eating meat just because they're so sick and as a last resort, and then they're shocked within like days. They feel 1,000,000,000% better. Like their IBS goes away and leaky gut goes away and their blood pressure normalizes and they get strength back and start gaining weight again and they can think clearer. I mean, it's remarkable. I do believe that vegetarianism and veganism were created specifically to make us weaker as an animal species, and because it weakens your mind too. And I don't think that factory farms are the way to go. Those are awful. Factory farms are awful. But it's part of the industrialization of the food. If it was back in the day where you lived in a freaking cabin and you had a couple of cows and a couple of pigs and chickens that laid eggs, and you know, this is how you had to function in life, you are a lot more respectful of where your food is coming from. You would honor the animal. We used to eat nose to tail. Every single thing that was on that animal was used and honored and appreciated. I mean, like Native Americans used every single piece, right down to the sinews under the skin. It was rope. It was woven into rope and the skins were used, and every single possible piece of that animal that could be used was. They weren't wasteful. They didn't look at an animal as a useless nothing. They looked at it as a sacrifice. That animal's life was sacrificed for the life of me and the life of my family. And to honor that sacrifice, I am not going to let one single cell of this thing go to waste. I'm going to use every single bit of it so that animal didn't die in vain. And we don't feel that way anymore. We don't care. Oh, well, that hamburger's old. Throw it away and open a new package. We don't give a shit. We don't give a shit that that animal was tortured in some factory farm across the country, you know, for its whole life. Not to mention, at this point, I'm thinking they're all probably clones anyway, so you're not even eating, you're eating like meat thrice removed, which is kind of creepy and gross to think about. But, I mean, we have no idea what we're eating. Yes, I eat meat, and I eat quite a bit of it too, but I am actually looking into getting a half a cow now instead of packs of hamburger, because it is important to eat nose to tail. You know how many vitamins you get from organ meat? People are like, oh, pirates got scurvy because they didn't have fresh fresh fruit. Bullshit. They didn't have fresh meat. There's more vitamin C in a liver than there is in a bag of oranges. And it's actually bioavailable. And so is the vitamin A. We're all losing our eyesight, and they're like, eat more carrots. Well, the vitamin A that isn't even actually vitamin A, it's beta carotene, in carrots isn't bioavailable. But the vitamin A that's in liver is extremely bioavailable. We're supposed to be eating nose to tail. Maybe we're supposed to be eating vegetation too, but we're supposed to be respecting our temple and the building blocks that we're building it with. Nobody's going outside, you know, poking and prodding and terrorizing an animal and then killing it to eat it. I mean, a psychopath maybe, but that goes back to wanting forgiveness or not. Sorry, small tangent. I'm going to shut up there, but yeah, and plastic is a big part of our lives, and it is, I think they made a really big deal out of BPA, which BPA is a big deal. It acts like estrogen in your body. It's just another thing that feminizes our men and is ruining our children and creating all kinds of cancer. So I think they made a big deal about the BPA because, you have to know by now that when the system says, oh, look at this, look over here, it's because this one's doing something that they don't want you to see. So, big deal about BPA. Oh, get BPA free everything. It really makes me wonder just what's in the BPA free stuff. Because my spidey instincts are telling me that what they're getting you to buy to avoid the BPA is probably actually more poisonous. I love glass things. I love glass jars. I save glass jars like I'm like hoarding for the zombie apocalypse or something, because so many things come in glass jars. They're giving you free storage, and what do? We dump the stuff out of it and throw it in the trash. But I have a house, I have a basement, I have space to keep things like that, but I use them for everything. I keep flour in jars and cornstarch, and my coffee is in a big jar. We do need to stay away from plastic as much as possible. That is a really far digression from rubber gloves. I'm sorry about that. Oh my goodness. Yes, there is liver pills. You can get emaciated liver, or not emaciated, ground up smooshied liver in capsules and take it if you can't stand it. I bought a beef liver recently. I haven't had liver since I was a kid, and I was like, I'm going to try this. Well, yeah, it was really bad. But I was wondering, I have a meat grinder, and I was thinking about taking some and grinding it up and seeing how much I have to add to something that's like regular ground beef. How much liver do I have to add to the ground beef before you can taste it? And it's not even to hide it from my family, because we were all discussing it. My husband and my son, I was like, you guys are vitamin A deficient. My son's got really dry skin, which is a vitamin A thing, and my husband is losing the eyes, even though I keep telling him, if you exercise your eyes, it makes your eyesight better. But, I mean, someone else will have to tell him, you know how husbands are with their wives. But they're vitamin A deficient. I'm not, because I'm keto. I'm on a keto diet. I don't eat sugar, and in place of sugar, I eat a lot of fat. And a lot of fat means I eat a lot of grass-fed butter, and I eat a lot of eggs and egg yolks, and those are really, really rich in vitamin A. So I am like solid on the vitamin A. They're not. I'm starting to make homemade mayonnaise because you make it with egg yolks, and I thought, well, you can get people to eat more mayonnaise. So I figure I'll make homemade mayonnaise and they can eat more mayonnaise. That'll up their vitamin A. Maybe try to use more butter and less olive oil. That would be a start. But yeah, we get a lot of really good things when we eat nose to tail, and we don't do that anymore. We don't care about our food. We don't interact with our food. It used to be one of the most important aspects of life, was what we did with our food, feeding our food, making sure that the things that you were going to consume for your health were properly cared for. That was important. My husband grew up in a family where they always had a cow or a pig out back, and it was part of his job to go out back and feed them, and the kids named them and they pet them and stuff, but they cared what their food ate. Now we don't even know what our food eats, and we don't care because we're too busy caring about everything else that the system tells us to care about. People get more emotionally charged over their football team losing a playoff than they do over finding out that the cow that they ate for dinner was probably beaten to death for the pleasure of the psychopaths that worked at the slaughterhouse. This is literally a thing. And I find that horrifying. And if you had to do it in your backyard and you couldn't just run up to the store and get another one or throw that away, it's old, it would matter to you. It's not so much that people don't care about things that matter. It's that people were introduced to things that they could get emotionally connected to that somehow came to matter more than the things that used to matter to them. It's sad. it bums me out. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Just over an hour. That's it. That's the drive fast. Oh my gosh, she went on forever update. And, Corinthians. I'm thinking tomorrow. Probably a live stream on the new channel. I should be able to live stream by then. My 24 hours is up in like 4 hours from now. So, quick sneak preview. You like this. Ready? Oh, not that one. Yeah, we know I'm not a doctor. Let's get that out of there. Okay. Well, that's not working either. Well, I wanted to give you a sneak preview. It would really help if I knew how to run OBS better, honestly. Oh, there it is. Score. Sneak preview. Check out everything that we have to go over. It's a very short verse, only 13 chapters, or 13 lines, but lots to go over. Got it pulled all up over here, and it does not say what you think it says. So, I hope I see you there, and thanks for showing up, and I hope you'll consider the things that I've said. I know some of them are kind of heavy, but, you know, I don't know. I'd love to hear from you. If anybody has thoughts or whatever, let me know. See you tomorrow, guys.